The first glass shattered when someone laughed too hard at a joke about loyalty. I remember because the sound didn't belong in that room. Everything was white and polished. The tablecloths, the plates, the smiles. The kind of dinner where laughter was rehearsed, not real. My wife's father sat at the head, his voice filling the air like a sermon. He had a way of commanding silence, even when he was pretending to be generous. "Family," he began, his fork capping the glass. "Tonight we celebrate progress." I didn't look up. I just swirled the wine in my glass and watched my reflection in the dark liquid. Then he said it, casually, like announcing the weather. "We've decided to cut you out of the company operations, Dave. You've never truly deserved it." A pause. Then laughter. My wife's mother clapped softly. Her brother smirked. Even my wife, the one person who should have looked at me, was staring at her phone, trying not to smile. And then, the final twist of the knife. "Your wife's new partner will take your place," her father said. Her new partner? She didn't flinch, didn't deny it. I took a slow sip of wine, nodded once, stood. "Thank you," I said quietly, and I walked out, leaving the warmth of their laughter behind. That was 2 nights ago. Tonight, they're all calling me, and no one's laughing anymore. The calls started at dawn. My wife's father, then her brother, then her. I didn't answer. I was sitting in the study, lights off, watching the rain paint thin gray lines against the window. The house was silent except for the occasional vibration of my phone on the desk. When she finally texted, "Please call me, something's happened," I almost smiled. Something had happened, but not to me. 2 days earlier, after that dinner, I had driven to the office one last time. My name was already missing from the company roster. My access card didn't work. The guard, a kid barely old enough to shave, told me my clearance had been revoked. I didn't argue. Instead, I went home and opened the encrypted folder I'd been building for months. Financial records, emails, signed documents with dates that didn't match. Her father's shell companies, her brother's fake invoices, even the new partner who'd been ghost managing offshore accounts under my wife's name. They thought they were removing me. They were removing the only one who'd kept them hidden. So I waited, calmly. Sometimes revenge doesn't need fire. It only needs silence. That night she came home late. Her perfume entered before she did. "You embarrassed my family," she said, her voice sharp but nervous. "Did I?" I asked. "They were trying to protect the company. You should be grateful they didn't." I looked at her, just long enough for her to stop. Then back at my screen. I didn't say a word. Silence unsettles liars more than shouting ever could. She walked away, muttering something about pride. I heard the shower running a few minutes later. I opened a private message on my laptop, sent to the National Tax Authority the week before. Then another, to our corporate bank. My name was still on every major account. My digital signature still valid. By the time she came out of the shower, I had transferred access. Not to myself, not to her father, but to investigators waiting for evidence of corporate fraud. She didn't notice. She just went to bed. And I sat there, in the dark, watching her sleep. Not with hate, with study. There's a moment when you realize you don't love someone anymore. It doesn't arrive with heartbreak. It arrives with peace. The next morning, her father called a family meeting at the office. He looked nervous. The old arrogance was gone. Papers were scattered across the table. The auditors had arrived before I did. "What's going on?" my wife asked, eyes wide. Her father glared at me. "What did you do?" I said nothing. I sat down, poured myself a glass of water, and slid a folder across the table. Inside, transactions, signatures, forged documents, everything they'd done under the company's name. "You wanted control," I said softly. "Now you have it. All of it." The investigators looked up. Her brother's face drained of color. Her new partner was sweating through his collar. My wife's voice cracked. "Dave, what is this?" "Your future," I said. "I just handed it over." She reached for my arm, but I pulled back slowly. "You wanted me out. Now you'll see what that really means." By evening, the news broke: Brennan Industries under investigation for massive fraud. Her father's empire frozen. Her brother detained. Her partner missing. And my wife was sitting on the porch when I came home, mascara streaking her cheeks. "You ruined us," she whispered. I stopped beside her. "No, you ruined me. I just returned the favor." She shook her head, clutching her knees. "You could have warned me." "I did," I said, stepping inside, "when I stayed quiet." She followed me in, trembling, trying to reach for me. "Please, Dave." I turned. "You laughed." Her lips parted, but no words came out. I watched the realization sink in. The dinner, the mockery, the arrogance, all of it collapsing into the truth. I walked past her, picked up my packed suitcase and paused at the door. "Tell your father," I said without looking back, "that sometimes the man you cut out was the only one holding the walls up." Then I left. The city was quiet when I checked into the hotel that night. I sat by the window, watching the streetlights bleed into the rain. My phone buzzed again, messages, calls, apologies. I turned it face down. For the first time in years, my reflection didn't look tired, just still. I thought about that dinner table, the laughter, the white plates, the sound of breaking glass. They thought they were celebrating my downfall. They didn't realize I had already moved the ground beneath them. I took a sip of whiskey and smiled faintly at the window. Some storms aren't loud. Some just take everything quietly. And when they pass, what's left standing is finally free.